All right, Gamecock fans, how we doing today? It's your buddy Rooster back. Wanted to say, oh, happy days. A lot of Gamecock fans very, very happy today. I wanted to do a video yesterday during National Signing Day, late yesterday afternoon, and talk about the kids that did sign. But something told me, hold off, Rooster. There's more information to come. Don't jump the gun and put out video without all the information. Just had that feeling. You know why I have that feeling? Because Beamer does this to us all the time, don't he? Some surprises came out today, but we'll go back to yesterday first. But really, before we get into it, let's hit that like and subscribe button for the Rooster. No negative today. We're going to talk positive. Look, no one's been more critical of Shane Beamer than I have, right? But you got to give the devil his due when it's owed to him. And what he did, keeping the recruiting class together, even after the season that we had this year, you got to give him all the credit in the world. Doing some things he did during the season, we say, should have been done before he did it, which was getting rid of Lonnie Teasley. And then firing Mike Schuler. Maybe should have done that a little bit earlier in the season than it happened. But we are where we are. We can't go back. We can't change the past, right? But we can improve in the future. So today it comes out Markwell Blackwell gets fired. We've had conversations about this. And we've talked about, a great friend of the program. I'm not going to say his name, but I always appreciate information that he gives to me. I don't like to say people's name unless they approve me to say their name. But there were some things that went on in the running back room this year, and it was kind of obvious if most people really wanted to open their eyes to it. And some of it was favoritism over recruiting. Some of the guys that were recruited by Montario Hardesty didn't see the field as much as people that were recruited by Blackwell. Well, the one person that was recruited by Markwell Blackwell. So, now that this is said and done and Blackwell's out, let's talk about it. Oscar Attaway, one of those kids that was recruited by Hardesty. Fuller, Hardesty, Howell, Hardesty. All those were Hardesty kids. What happened every time one of those guys was having a good football game? They got pulled, they got put on the bench, and they disappeared for the rest of the game. For Faison to come in, who, well, not to beat up Faison. The kid had some good runs, but they were inconsistent. Or you can say some of his inconsistent runs were due to the offensive line being bad. So all that's changing now. Overhaul on the offensive staff. I think Mac Fury stays on. Pretty sure he's not going to be the offensive coordinator. And then Sean Elliott will stay. We don't know the role yet, whether that's tight ends coach, whether he's going to continue to be the offensive line coach. How does this kind of set up for a offensive coordinator? Does Beamer even have an offensive coordinator? We're starting to hear names, right? You got the Utah Beck, guy that was at Syracuse. That's a name that's been floated around. I've heard that name come out last week. It started. We're still hearing it this week. Decker, the OC from Old Dominion. Will any of that stuff get announced? Is it those guys? Are those guys bringing their own? Because right now, if we wanted to construct where we're at, let's start with constructing what. After what we saw yesterday, first box checked for Shane Beamer right now is he held a recruiting class together and he got a couple surprises, right? Was able to flip Walker. Great. We know the guy. He's been around South Carolina. His dad works for South Carolina. Julian Walker was a commit to Michigan. We kind of heard some backdoor stuff that North Carolina had tried to slide in. And then yesterday started coming out that Landon Duckworth may flip to LSU, that Kiffin gave it a good old swing, but didn't happen. Duckworth, 4-star quarterback out of Alabama, decided that he was going to stick with the Gamecocks. I think he got a phone call from Shane Beamer. A lot of communication probably happening on what is going on in the coaching search. Does whoever the OC is bring in his own quarterback coach? Is he the quarterback coach? Is he going to bring in a quarterback coach? We don't know, but we know right now in searching, as we start checking off more boxes, first and foremost, I think very importantly, will be the offensive coordinator hire. If there's a QB coach coming with him, that'll be a check. They typically like to bring their own guys. Do they bring a running back coach with them? Maybe their running back coach is their guy when it comes to being an assistant OC or however you want to put it. Is their guy offensive line coach? Are they bringing some staff with them? Could be a reason why this hasn't been something that was a quick hire, or who knows. Championship games could be an offensive coordinator in a championship game this week. Say if it is the guy from ODU, we know ODU's playing Temple. So, or no, that's James Madison. Is ODU in a game this week? Maybe not. I haven't looked. Be honest with y'all, I have not looked at football all week. I have been so busy. Other than Georgia and Alabama playing, I think I know Ohio State and Indiana's playing each other. I think it's Texas Tech and BYU playing again in the Big 12, maybe. I have to be truly honest with you guys. I have not looked at a whole lot of stuff. I've just been trying to keep up with what's going on with South Carolina this week in my spare, when I can, right? We said yesterday, I put the video out where I was trying to work because that's all the time I've really had. And I had to kind of admit it, with the whole quitting smoking, trying to get away from smoking, all that stuff, get back into the gym, plus work, plus home life. It has been kind of hectic. But you had to say some boxes that need to be checked. Now you got to find a running back coach. You got to find an offensive line coach. Got some great offensive line kids. Darius Gray, who committed to South Carolina. Giles, all these guys they're young kids, right? Everybody wants to get excited because we were able to hold it together. I can't seem to quite get excited yet, right? Because we still got to recruit our own team. That's another box that we have to check in reconstruction of this thing or renovation, whatever Shane Beamer wants to call what he's doing. Maybe he's just renovating the whole offense, rejuvenating, doing whatever he has to do to try to keep the fan base happy and off of his boo-tay. But, coaching searches can be exciting, especially coming off of a bad season when you haven't had a lot to be excited about. Something fresh, something new sometimes brings a spark. And the recruiting class brought a spark. So then you want that spark to light a fire, and a fire of expectations goes up. Now, I know everybody's all over Beamer, and I have been too about talking about playoffs and SEC championships. I'm actually not going to beat Beamer up too bad over saying he's pissed off because we're not preparing for an SEC championship. I want him to be pissed off because we're at home and not preparing to play in an SEC championship. It does come across, and it sounds delusional, and I said that. He needs to calm down a little bit because it comes across as delusional. But I like the part that he said he was pissed off about it, because motivation is anger. Anger is motivation. You know what I mean? Sometimes it takes that. Sometimes it takes getting your back against the wall and having to fight your way through things. Sometimes it takes hitting the bottom where Beamer's at now and having to fight your way back up. And the lessons you learn doing that will make you a better person down the road. We've all gone through struggles. We've all had to find ways to push through things at times that just wasn't good. And that's what this team is doing now. You go through those adversities, and it builds your character, and you learn from these type of things. Look, you guys know, I was off the Beamer train. Beamer gone. We know that's not going to happen. So what do we have to do now? We have to turn our support to him and the team. It's not on the kids, right? Everybody says, well, the kids didn't play. We're all right about that. Every kid didn't play their best game every game. A lot of people got on Dylan Stewart. I tend not to do too much with the kids. And even earlier in the season, people were all over Stewart, and I said, leave Dylan Stewart. There's a video on this channel where I said, leave Dylan Stewart alone. The dude's getting doubled and triple teamed every time. It's other people that's got to step up that can prevent that. You know what I'm saying? If other guys are stepping up, you can't focus on a Dylan Stewart. Lenore's had good games, had bad games, throws for 300-something yards against Clemson, but then, was two of the fumbles after a catch Lenore Sellers' fault? No. Was what was called an interception really an interception? Ball hit the ground, rolled around. Hey, officials say not enough evidence to turn it. They gave the interception to Clemson. Not bitching over the spilled milk now. You lost, you lost. It is what it is. Beamer's making the changes. He told the SEC people, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this football team better. Well, Blackwell's a start to me. I don't know the man personally. I'm not trying to beat him personally, but his recruiting, let's just think about it. We didn't get the Florida kid flip back to Florida State, Amari Thomas. Then this Carson Baker, who was the Florida commit, goes to Texas A&M. Everybody says, well, that's a money deal. It could be a money deal. But it's also we don't have an offensive coordinator, and we were firing our running back coach. So if you're in that position and you're looking at it, it's like, well, I don't even know who I'm going to be playing for. I don't know who my position coach is. So you have to have a lot of faith to go out there and make that decision, and not everybody has that. Especially if there's a dollar amount involved and the negative recruiting that people are going to do against you when it comes to look at them. They had a 4-8 season. They're falling apart. Beamer's on the hot seat, and I haven't helped that neither. And a lot of other people haven't on social media. We haven't helped that because they use all that. We think just our coaches are looking at it. Hell no, all the other coaches are using what we say as negative recruiting also. And, I'm just not going to be negative the rest of the year. This year is over. If I just sit here and live in misery and just want to look at everything from a total negative way, I'm only making myself more angry. We got to let it play out now. It's to that point. We all know Beamer's not going to get fired. There's no need to even talk about it. You got to do it. If you're Shane Beamer, this is the guy to do it year coming. Another bad year and he's gone. There is no more chances after this one. So all I can do right now is support the decisions, right? I may not agree with who he hires as an offensive coordinator, but no matter who he hires, it's a damn gamble. It is. There's no 100% proof that any guy he is to hire right now is going to go out and put up 500 yards of offense week in and week out against SEC defenses. 9-game SEC schedule. Now, it's a little bit depending on the improvement. I'm not even saying that the schedule's easier next year. Depends on the improvement of a lot of teams we're going to play. There's a 3-win Florida team who just got a new coach. What are they going to look like by next year? Kentucky, brand new coach. What are they going to look like? Mississippi State wasn't that great this year. They're on the schedule next year. So we do have what we would consider teams that were down at the bottom of the SEC just like we were this year on our schedule next year. So what you can do, you got to hold the team together, which sounding more and more like Lenore's is not going anywhere because I think he's been more involved. Now, I don't know if I really care about the whole idea of asking a 19-year-old about coaching again because we did that last year and didn't work out too well. So it's got to be a group decision, and the adults have to make that decision because there's a lot of money involved now. So I don't know if I like my current quarterback picking an offensive coordinator that's going to be around for years once he's gone. Because then you got other quarterbacks. So if you're looking around the team, we know most of the guys that we just got out of high school have to be developed, right? It's going to take them a year or two. Is there a next year impact player? Julian Walker, you would say, is probably that guy. If you look through there, is there other guys that's going to be instant impacts to the football team? I don't know. You can't answer that on a high school kid. You really can't. Now, we don't know if we're going to have the ability to keep all these young, really good wide receivers that we brought in last year. I think that'll be a lot to do with who the offensive coordinator is and how he likes to spread the ball around. Does Nick Harbor stay? I think Nick stays. I think Nick could use another year of development. Honestly, I don't think Dylan Stewart's going anywhere. I think that's a big reason Julian Walker did flip. He's thinking, I'm on one side, Dylan Stewart's on the other side. And Dylan Stewart made a hell of an impact as a freshman. Can Julian Walker do the same thing? I don't think any of our linebackers are going anywhere. I think that's going to be great there. Defensive lineman, of course, we got some guys that are going to graduate out. But my man, Big Gabe, in the middle, eating them up. I picked him at the first of the year, and I picked Christian Ingram as my young guy that I thought would make more of it. I really thought he would see more action than he saw, but there were some experienced guys in front of him. I expect my man Christian Ingram to really step it up next year. I like that kid. He's got the right size for it. Just get some development under him. It was tough on the defensive lineman with T-Rob and the accident and not really having the ability to be there every day during the season. I expect that D-line to be much better. He's back. T-Rob's back. He's got some more time to heal up before he'll get the kids and get to work with them. Some questions still need to be answered. Some more boxes when it comes to players. If you're looking at the transfer portal, what does South Carolina need? Everybody says, well, Sellers comes back. Do you really need a quarterback? I still think if you have a quarterback, if you can pull in a quarterback that is a redshirt sophomore or a junior, somebody that's willing to come in, a redshirt junior that has 2 years of eligibility left, if you can find somebody like that that's willing to come in, I think you make up a gap. I know a lot of people are sold on Cutter Woods. I like Aaron Nolan myself. I think Aaron, a little bit I got to see him throw the ball, that kid can spin it. He's got the size. So both of the young quarterbacks, adding in Landon Duckworth, which I know they would love to just probably redshirt him. But I think there's still a little bit of a gap between Lenoris and Cutter. The reason I say that, Cutter Woods didn't get to play a lot. Neither did Aaron Nolan this year. Remember this when we went through it with Rattler and then handing the ball off to Lenoris when Lenoris had only thrown 4 passes the year before. Now, Lenoris, the athlete he was, made the best he was, but it took a little bit of time. That maybe if he had gotten to play more, it might have not had quite those struggles in the first 6 games of the season last year. So that's why I kind of worry about that position. So I think if there's a good quality quarterback that's willing to come in, I'm not saying the guy's got to be an all-star, superstar, or anything. A Robbie Ashford type guy that can come in, still have some eligibility, and take some good snaps and help us out if anything were to happen with Lenoris. Somebody with a little more experience. Running back is definitely have to be a position. Now, I love how a lot of us have been very frustrated on wanting to know why Jawan Howell was not getting on the football field. Because the previous year, the little bit of time he got out there, other than one fumble, the kid always moves forward. He's always gaining yards. Matthew Fuller's back there. Augusta, we really didn't get to see a lot of, so we don't know what he brings yet. Some more development in a good system, and if it's a spread system, it gives these guys some areas to move, make some people miss, break some tackles. It's going to be a fun watch, but I still think you need more depth. You can't go into the season with 3 guys at running back, so maybe you're looking at 2. It could be 2 guys. Maybe even find a guy like a Mario Anderson or somebody at a smaller school that can come in there too, that can hammer. Maybe you find a smaller guy that's a faster, quicker guy. Most of our backs are a little bit in the 210, 215, 220 range. Maybe you got that little scat back there that can do a lot of things for you that you can bring in, like we have with Juju. But you're definitely going to have to add some depth there. Offensive line is going to be reworked. You got to find some good quality offensive linemen. Tight end room's another one that you're going to have to check a box on. Love Ramsey coming in, young guy though, not really ready. You need some experience in there. But tight end's going to be very, very important. I think we're okay at wide receiver. I mean, if somebody wants to come to South Carolina and he's been a one wide receiver somewhere else and the dude is super talented, you're not going to turn him down. But if we're not losing any of the kids we have, I think we have super, super talented wide receivers on our football team. Defensively, I think our DB room, you're definitely going to look there again to add some experience, right? Some good quality DBs. Safeties, DQ Smith graduating out with his age. Does Jalen Kilgore return? Does he try to go NFL? I think he said he'd answer that question after his exams and stuff. So we'll see what Jalen Kilgore decides to do. I just don't know, man. It's hard to say with some of these guys. Clayton White being rumored to maybe get an opportunity as a head coach. I haven't heard really a whole lot about that anymore since last week when it was kind of brought up with the Coastal situation. I don't know. I think our defensive coaching staff, I think is going to be our defensive coaching staff. I don't see anything changing on that unless it is a Clayton White taking a head coaching job somewhere. I kind of feel that there's not going to be any changes in that room, even though the James Franklin rumored to wanting to try to get Torian Gray to Virginia Tech. I just think Torian and Shane Beamer have such a relationship from their time together at Virginia Tech. I just don't see Torian Gray making that move unless there's some money out there. You know what I mean? Because to me, I think if Clayton does make the move, Torian's the guy that makes the most sense to go in as the defensive coordinator. So I kind of see Torian as defensive coordinator in waiting. I could be wrong. Y'all could tell me I'm crazy as hell. But anyway, it's been some good news for South Carolina since the season got over with. Just not a lot to feel good about, and it had been dark and dreary, and South Carolina needed some sunshine, and you got some, right? The flip of Julian Walker, signing Landon Duckworth when it looked like old Lane Whiffen was going to come in and try to take our quarterback. But if any football player just wants to know about Lane Kiffin, just go read the comments out there on X by the Ole Miss football players. And even if the kids ain't reading it, the parents of these kids are. So I can guarantee you, if someone is kind of dedicated somewhere and they're looking around and say, hey, sometimes everything ain't just about trying to win a football game, but you see what he just did to the kids at Ole Miss and kind of the situation that happened there, make you think twice about letting that guy coach your kid. But, hey, more power to whoever wants to go wherever they got to do. We got to focus in our house. Our chicken coop needs to stay strong, needs to stay good. Like I said, I'm interested on this. I think we all are on this coaching, but I still think a lot of people, including me, does Beamer get it right? Do we have some doubts about it? Sure we do. We want to see. We got to see it, right? I'm a gotta see it guy. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't believe none of that. I believe what I see with my own two eyes. And I think a lot of fans are at that point now. We want to see it. But anyway, love all you guys. Always appreciate the support. Some great news for Gamecock fans today. And we just hope this continues until next season, right? Just keep feeding positive things, and we'll see what changes come, what shakes out. As I said, just try to hold my patience, not jump on with every little, like so many people on YouTube and Twitter, like every little thing that happens, they got to post something. They got to post something. They got to post something. And sometimes you put something out there too quick. Sometimes it's let it play out. Let's see what happens, and then we talk about it. But anyway, like I said, appreciate all you guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, Hey, go Gamecocks. Been there 52 years. I'm a Gamecock fan. Black, garnet, bleed it. Been bleeding it all my life. Appreciate all you guys. Peace.